Good morning, everybody. Joe from Gym Life Podcast here at Clash on the Coast. This is our third day here at Clash. Today is the women's 82s, and all weekend long I've been talking to this gentleman to my left who is well known throughout our strongman community, Calum Liptrot with Cerberus. And what would that title be? Right? The world global leader of Cerberus? Is that what it is?
Supreme leader of Cerberus. Well, in America you'd call it CEO, but back in the UK we call it managing director.
Yeah.
So yeah,
not a bad gig, right?
Big dog.
Managing director. Yeah. So you get to come around and travel and do all this fun stuff and meet all these great athletes and be a part of these great events like Clash on the Coast.
Oh, fantastic! It's great being involved in all these shows. This is, I've got a passion for strongman, and I'm very fortunate that I've built my company to success where we're able to support these shows, support the athletes. And as a guilty pleasure, we get to visit the shows and see everyone and fruits of everyone's labor type of thing. It's great to see.
Yeah, and it's awesome that you're here representing as well. I think a lot of us really respect that about you and your organization and your company, because you guys really do sort of lead by example. You're here, you're with us at these events. You're just not sending somebody to represent you, and you get the feedback. You take some of the good and some of the bad, I'm sure, and it's got to be just a good feeling to be a part of this community.
Oh, definitely. I mean, meeting the athletes, this face-to-face stuff that we do is priceless. We're very old-fashioned, and I'm an old school guy, so I'd rather speak to someone face-to-face than on the phone. I'd rather, get feedback face-to-face and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, we're in 2023 now. We've got the Zoom calls and all this type of stuff. But, yeah, I like the face-to-face. And, I've spoken to a few of the athletes here this weekend. I've got a bit of feedback on a few things. Always got a few new products on the go. So I've had a bit of feedback. I've asked some probing questions on what people want and need. So yeah, these type of things are invaluable for us. We see the value in
certainly with product design. I can only imagine that you get so much interesting feedback from these guys about and gals about what they're hoping you might come up with, and plant a seed in your head and maybe watch this sort of evolve over a course of the idea of designing it. Because I know we talked about that a little bit, and you're really the Cerberus bags obviously are leading the way. I mean, they're it, right? And you were telling me kind of like your idea and coming up with Cerberus and the idea behind sort of the products that you kind of develop in your brain. When did it all kind of start for you to want to get into a company or develop a company like Cerberus?
Right. Well, I've always been into business. I've had my own businesses. I've been self-employed since unofficially since the age of sort of 15, 16. Yeah. So I'm always looking for opportunities, and I'm always looking for things to do that I've got a passion for. So, I used to be a DJ, and my passion was music, and nice. I sort of built a business around that allowed me to make money from it and grow that dream. But that's a story for another day. Let's
it sounds like a great story, though. We might have to catch up someday on that one.
But yeah, so like some great companies, just happened totally by accident. And I'll give you the brief version. So when we started out, Cerberus has been on the go since 2012. Mm-hmm. And back then, in the UK especially, there was very little choice for supportive equipment. For strongman was very much unknown then. We were at a very much. It was you think it's niche now. It was super niche.
Oh
then.
yeah,
super niche. So yeah, I mean, you guys were lucky in the States. You had more choice with some of the powerlifting brands that you could use their equipment and stuff like that. Yep. But for us to bring that stuff to the UK was very expensive. And so yeah, myself, my business partner Peter McDonald's, Brown, we owned a gym together. We co-owned with another guy, and it was like a hardcore nice. Strongman powerlifting gym, and we trained strongman, and we loved strongman, and I have to hands up. Peter was more into the strongman. I mean, he's the one that got me into strongman, and we obviously love it. But yeah, back to the story. There wasn't enough choice. There was, the stuff that we had available in the UK. There was very few brands, and the stuff was just rubbish, absolute rubbish. And so we started off with sort of lifting straps and wrist straps and that type of stuff. And we made them. It was a guilty pleasure. We just made them for ourselves because we wanted to wear something that we could trust. and no one wants to die while they're doing strongman.
No,
So
it's no fun.
Yeah, we want stuff that would hold us together, and we could rely on. So we made that for ourselves. We tested it and we used it, and we had a few of our friends training with us. They started using it, and then before we knew it, the whole gym was using the stuff, because people were just like, oh hey, that's really good quality, that's the thing you're using there. Can we how do I get one? And we're like, well, we just sort of got it made and all the rest of it, and it's sort of, they were like, well, can you make some for us? And we're like, well, yeah, okay, cool, we'll place an order. And it kind of just grew from there. And then you had people on a day pass at the gym coming and seeing it and like, oh wow, and it just completely
Truly grassroots then. I mean, truly grassroots.
Truly grassroots.
When did you realize you guys are onto something? Because I get it, you did it for yourselves in the beginning, and then you have your the local guys and local gals saying, hey, let me try that. You're breaking even or probably losing money on everything you're doing
we
back
were losing
then.
money big time.
Yeah, right, for a while, I'm sure. When did you realize that maybe we got something here and we have to maybe invest a different look into it? I mean, because ultimately that's what you guys did. You just took off like a shot.
Sure. Well, I think myself and Peter were the only people that sort of believed in the company when it became a thing. And I'm a crazy dreamer. I'm always thinking of what's happening in the future. Whereas when people look at Cerberus, they're focusing on what we're doing now. But I've always got this. I'm at least 5 years in the future. So I mean, I probably, if I didn't believe in it as much as I did, it wouldn't be a thing, because if you were to just look at the raw numbers, it would just not be viable at all.
Right.
And it's only because, I've been, I got it from my dad. I'm a complete workaholic. I've got a couple other businesses, and but just basically, Peter's got a good saying. He says we succeeded despite everything else. Which
the
is
way it happens sometimes, a ton of sweat equity, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you still probably haven't paid yourselves back for everything you put in those early years, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, not many people believe this, but I'm the lowest paid employee in the company.
Of course, you're CEO.
Because I've got this choice where I could pay myself more or develop this new product. So I'm like, new product.
Reinvesting. That's the way we like to say it.
Yeah, but there is as you get older, you realize there is a bit of a balance. And I've got a daughter now, so I'm trying to be. I suppose it's getting old. I'm a lot more cautious.
That's a good way to put it. Cautious.
I'm a lot more cautious than I used to be. Whereas I was literally, before I was like, pour all this money into stuff, and oops, I can't pay my mortgage.
Right.
But hey, I've got.
I can survive. Right. Yes.
So. I'll tell you guys a story on the origins of the name Cerberus that we chose.
Yes, please. Yep.
Also completely by accident. So, I mean, I've been involved in some form of sports my whole life, basically. And prior to Strongman, we were involved in MMA and motorsport with another business of mine.
Okay.
And it was crazy. I mean, I look back now and I think, what the hell was I thinking? I mean, we had in the UK, it's called a superbike racing team. And that was, that's a money pit. So
I've heard. Yeah.
But the MMA is the origin story for the name Cerberus. So we sponsored a lot of MMA. We had, as part of the gym, we had an MMA studio at the top of the gym. Knew a lot of the guys. I trained MMA very briefly. I'm not very good at all, but I enjoyed it at the time.
Yeah.
And so we were sponsoring these shows, these MMA shows, and like I say, always trying to think of an opportunity. Or I was like, well, listen, how can we make some money? What product can we sell to these MMA guys that can subsidize all this sponsorship? Because before it was like basically out of my own pockets. So. I was like, well, how about it? What do they all use? Everybody uses a mouth guard.
Okay.
A mouth guard.
Yeah.
So I went to work, and I was, we've got a very, we've got a great product design process we do, but just with this, we'll stick to the mouth guard. I made a great mouth guard, and the USP of it was you could breathe through it. It had breathing vents in it. You could breathe through it while you're wearing it, so you wouldn't have to open your mouth to breathe. And so I was thinking of names for this mouth guard, and I love this Greek mythology and all this type of stuff. So anyway, Greek word Cerberus means protection or guarding. So as in like mouth guard,
Okay,
mouth protection.
okay, yeah.
And Cerberus was the guardian of the underworld, or playing on this word guard.
Yeah.
So I made the Cerberus mouth guard. That was the first
That was the
product.
first Cerberus item, then,
completely,
essentially.
completely unrelated to
Right.
strongman.
Yeah.
Ironically, and it totally failed. It totally failed. The timing was totally wrong when we brought it out. When we brought it out, these custom fit mouth guards became a thing.
Yeah.
They became a lot more affordable. And you had the choice of buying a boil and bite like what we had, or you could get it, 20, 30,
Right.
40.
It was about
You
that
get a
time,
you
wasn't
get
it?
a boil
Yeah,
and bite.
yeah.
So you could get a custom fit. And that was the time when you noticed all the fighters had that sort of, they had those designs, they had their names in their mouth.
Yes,
guards, all that
yes,
stuff.
yeah.
And everyone went wild for that. So it didn't matter how much they cost, everyone wanted them. So that mouth guard totally failed. I ended up selling them on Amazon for cost price in the end.
You probably still got a closet full of them.
I think I even lost money on them.
Yeah.
But the story about the Cerberus mouth guard is myself and a friend I used to work with, we designed the logo, the Cerberus logo for that Cerberus mouth guard. And, everyone was like, wow, that's such a cool logo.
Really is, yeah.
And, we designed a unique font from scratch. So it was completely drawn. You drew the whole alphabet of this font. So that's another cool thing. I like things being unique. Where no one can copy it and all the rest of it,
So that font is your font, then, is what you're saying? Yeah, okay, yeah.
We call it the Cerberus
Cerberus font, yeah, okay, yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And, people were saying, oh, that's really cool. And we'd gone for the red and black colors for that. The mouth guard was red and black, and the packaging and all the rest of it. And I was like, it looks really cool. It just wasn't the right product. So when we started making the wrist straps and the lifting straps and all the strongman stuff tailored for strongman, we were like, right, well, let's just call the brand Cerberus.
Sure.
Because we already had the logo, we already had the color scheme. It was that red and black's nice and aggressive. I mean, I'd like to think we were one of the first people to use the red and black color scheme, because when we did do a lot of research into things. I like to think at all facets of things. So the red, the danger, the black, the darkness, and there's a lot of thought that goes into everything we do. So we did the red and black, and then we painted the gym red and black, and it looked really cool. Got some of the equipment repowder coated in red. Yeah. So we're this like sort of
Cerberus
cool
headquarters. Yeah, I get it.
It was cool. It was cool. And of course, being in the gym, we had a testing bed. So anything we brought out, we'd get the guys to test.
Sure. Yeah.
And obviously going way back when in the Cerberus story, our first sponsored athletes were Donna Moore, Luke Stoltman, a guy who's sort of used to be a very good powerlifter and strongman, but he sort of retired a long time ago now. Thomas Parks, some people might remember him, and Zaki Maluzi, from Malawi, who also lives in Scotland now, and so we had all these fantastic athletes in our gym, training, using our stuff, and that that was a testament to how good the stuff was. If these type
absolutely.
of people
Yeah.
were using it, and I mean, it was great. I mean, sometimes you get a gym where there just seems to be a concentration of strength. All these fantastic athletes.
Sure, I think we can all relate. Yeah,
come out of this gym, and we were super fortunate that we had this. There was something in the water or whatever, but we had all these fantastic athletes come out of this gym.
I tell you, you sure hit a home run. I mean, nowadays you can look at that Cerberus logo, and you don't even need the name Cerberus underneath of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, even if you know what Greek mythology is, we don't recognize it as that now. We recognize it as your company, which I think is great for branding. So you certainly hit a home run there. Yeah, no, great. And then kind of falling into these athletes like you did as well that were a part of your facility that ended up being world-class athletes. And starving athletes at that, because we know strength sports in general don't provide a lot of opportunity when it comes to sponsorships to begin with. So there's a symbiotic nature to that, where they're grateful at the same time you're grateful to have them. So it's a great working relationship, and still is with you. And the entire time that you guys have been around and sponsoring athletes, these athletes love working with you guys, and that's a testament to what type of company you are. And you kind of just laid it out. Yeah. It's grassroots, and it doesn't go beyond you guys. I mean, from everything from design to application to everything else is you and of course your partners. And I just think that's just really awesome. It's really sort of it's really a benchmark in our industry, in our strength community, I should say, with the way you guys represent and the way you're here representing this event and everything else. We had a conversation the other day as well about how you're taking the charge or the lead in trying to bring on more of these smaller promotions, because also too it lends to the grassroots sort of nature of Cerberus themselves and how you're reaching a larger swath of the strength community by representing the smaller guys as well.
For sure. Well, I mean, you know, when I look at the company and who our customers are, we're super appreciative of who buys our stuff, and you know, we're very loyal to everyone who supports us. So you know, a lot of these grassroots competitions, these are our customers. These are our core customers. These are the guys who they're not world's strongest man. They've not got massive sponsorship deals and you know, multiple sponsors. These are just regular guys enjoying the sport, trying to advance. You know, and just you know what it's all about, really. This is why I got into strongman. That sort of camaraderie and that grassroots level stuff is still what I like to see, and you see just as much passion there as you do on the world stage. So yeah, I think it's unfair not to support these grassroots competitions and things like that, because yeah, I think it's disrespectful to our customers.
Well, we certainly appreciate that in our community as well. And like I said to you, the story that I had, of course, behind that was when George Bullard and Great Lakes Strongest Man, and I've used your logo several times in promoting that show, being in my home state.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was the coolest thing. I thought this is just really awesome. You know, at whatever level you participated in, just being a supportive component to his show, I think just represents enough. And it also gets more people involved in it, because obviously from a promotional standpoint, that says a lot about what is being done, because you're not just picking any small town promotion. Obviously there's some due diligence there, making sure that it's a good promotion, been around a while and represents well. But I just think that's fantastic about everything. What do you think about Clash on the Coast and your I guess your weekend here and enjoying this tiki bar area with all these athletes every evening and watching that show every day?
Yeah, well, it's great. This is probably one of the first shows I've been to where I'm not working at, or I've not got a specific role that I have to stress about.
Yeah, bit of a vacation, really.
Yeah, so it is literally, yeah, it is. It feels very strange to say it, but yeah, it's like a vacation.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I was checking into the airport or whatever on social media last week, someone was like, "Oh, you're on holiday?" And I was like, "No, I'm off on a work trip."
Right.
But it doesn't really feel like a work trip these last few days. And you know, I get to watch some great strongman action, and today obviously the strongwoman. So
which is equally as a big part about this sport as any other part about it. Real quick, you're obviously huge in the strongman scene, but as I mentioned to you the other day, it's funny nowadays when I get to all these other gyms, and I travel around doing this podcast just about everywhere, and I'm always hitting a gym somewhere. It's becoming so common now to see Cerberus gear on everybody who is a lifter anymore.
Yeah.
That's got to be a good feeling too. You're kind of breaking down these boundaries a little bit. It's like other companies, not to be named, generally stay in their wheelhouse, where Cerberus is now kind of being accepted by the whole lifting community and not just wheelhoused or cornholed into a strongman community.
Well, it's fantastic because obviously it's a testament to the quality of the equipment.
Absolutely.
And people appreciate that, and you know, they want to be, you know, they see these really, you know, if it's good enough for like the strongest guys in the world, then it's good enough for me, you know.
Yep, absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, I'm so proud of our stuff. I'm so proud because it's stuff it's a guilty pleasure for myself and my business partner Peter. It's, you know, this is stuff we can wear ourselves with total pride. We've got utmost confidence in it. And it's almost like, you know, how many guys get to design their own gear and wear it, you know?
Yeah, and have it provide for them too, right? And that's the key, right? You can have fun and do it and still make a living from doing it. Let me ask you this $1 million question, and of course you don't have to answer it. Mm-hmm. Is there anything new that Cerberus has come, something that's just going to wow everybody? Because I know you're working on some things. Anything down the pipe that might be released soon? Yeah,
we've got a few things on the go. They're about to release soon. I'm just trying to think if there's anything I can share with you. I probably can't share anything. Oh,
Jesus. That's a cliffhanger for everybody out there.
Sorry, because I found in the past, if I hint at something, it has two effects. One is we get harassed nonstop until we release.
Oh, that's product. A fact. Yeah,
sure.
Get
harassed nonstop.
Yeah.
And secondly, I don't know. We play our cards pretty close to our chest.
I'm glad your answer is good enough for me. I didn't think I was getting it out of you anyhow. I put you on the spot, but I thought maybe. No, you never know.
I don't like to give anyone too much of a heads up of what we're up to until we, you know,
Well,
Boom.
all eyes are always on you guys anyhow. So the minute that's released, it's going to go viral for sure within all these different lifting communities. And I just want to say thank you so much. It's been a pleasure meeting you. You're a guy that's always been on my radar, obviously, since I've been in the sport and what you guys have been doing. And just to run into you this weekend has just been a pleasure and chatting with you. And I certainly can say on behalf of everybody that I know, we appreciate Cerberus and everything you guys are doing. So thank you so much.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate it. And just before we wrap up, I was just going to say, obviously we're about to watch the ladies show.
That's right.
It's just fantastic to see how much the women's side of the sport has grown.
Oh boy, yeah.
And I mean, like I say, our first athlete was Donna Moore, and we've got a huge roster of female athletes. And to anyone watching, I'd just like to say, thanks to everyone who's sort of, because it doesn't happen overnight. The growth of that side of the sport. There's been a lot of conversations behind the scenes, and companies like mine, we've been sort of pushing to get the females more limelight, deservedly so, because they're phenomenal athletes, and it's a crying shame when you don't see them getting the spotlight they deserve.
Well, I tell you, I think in the last year they've proven that they could very well be as or more entertaining than the men. And I went being at the Arnold last weekend or a couple weekends ago, many of the people that I saw that were there just spectating, and I saw them out to dinner, just fans of the sport, just strictly fans of the sport, told me they were more entertained by that women's side of thing, and which I love to hear, because I'll be honest, I tell everybody, make no bones about it, I'm a bigger fan of that that side of things right now, because what we're seeing is quite frankly something we thought we'd never see with the strength of women. So
that's great to see, because like I say, just watching our athletes and just being frustrated that they're not getting those opportunities.
Yeah, I know.
You feel, I feel quite, I feel frustrated on their behalf, and I'm
there's a bit of philanthropy, I think, coming from Cerberus as well, and I think a lot of us see that as let's not let that go unseen, because you certainly guys put yourself out there in a lot of situations, I think, where you're just lending to the love of the sport, and everybody knows that about you guys, Cal. So I think that's another great thing that resonates with everybody.
To anyone watching, thank you very much for your support. Basically all the support that the support and love you show Cerberus, buying our products, coming to events that we support, supporting strongman and strongwoman in general. All that goes back into the sport. It's basically the more money we make, the more we can support. And,
I love it.
I wish I could support more, but
I said it the other day, Cal. I said we're an ecosystem, and we rely on one another to continue the growth of the sport that we love. So I, of course, invite everybody to buy stuff from people that support us.
Oh, for sure.
And that's very important.
Even if you're not necessarily buying from Cerberus, but if you're in the market to buy new gear, support a company that supports the sport.
Absolutely.
That's a big thing, because that's how we grow things for the athletes and create more opportunities, because supporting outside of that is not going to filter into our sport.
That's right. Amen. Well, thanks for joining me today. Appreciate it, Cal.
No problem at all.
A fist pump for you. All right. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Okay, buddy. Take care. Thank you.